I'm one of the engineers that worked on the Windsurf web search feature, and as a geek at heart, I really wanted to walk you through technically how this works, some tips and tricks that I've learned using it, and how to get the most out of your credits. So in the bottom right, everyone's familiar with the Windsurf settings panel. Here, there's a new setting called Enable Cascade Web Tools with a description of what this does. We have this on. You could turn this off if you don't want to use this tool. The really cool thing about Cascade is now it can go to the internet and browse the internet as a human would, as you would. And this is really the groundbreaking part about this feature. Unlike traditional internet lookup, what it's first going to do is ask itself a couple of questions. Do I need to search the web? Of the results, imagine yourself scrolling Google, which search results are relevant enough and good enough for me to look at? And then it's going to go to the page, skim through the article, and then figure out which sections of the article you actually need to read. So this very much mimics the way that you or I would search the web. So we're going to demonstrate how this works. We're going to ask Cascade, look up the Next.js documentation for me to generate a dynamic OG image at route.tsx. So what Cascade is going to do, it's going to use the web browser very similarly to a human would. So first, it's going to ask itself, do I need the internet? And in this case, it does. It needs to look up the live documentation. So it decides to search the web. And what it does is construct a query, in this case, Next.js dynamic OG image generation route.tsx documentation. And that gives us a list of 5 relevant articles that might be worth looking at. That is 1 credit to search the web. Next, Cascade is not going to read all of them because that would be too expensive both from our standpoint and also you don't want to waste credits reading pages that give you redundant information. Cascade is going to choose the first one. It's going to choose the one that seems most relevant, which is Open Graph Images and Twitter Images, Next.js. You can actually look at the contents of the page here. And if you scroll through, you can see it's like fairly hefty. We would not read this in one go. A human would not read the entire thing. They would just try to find the section that is most relevant to them. So Cascade operates in a very similar way. It'll create an outline. And you can imagine a page is broken up into chunks. A chunk is defined as a paragraph, of a code block, whatever can fit inside of a window of characters. We create an outline from this, and then we read that outline to determine which chunks are relevant to look at. In this case, it's analyzing a few chunks. First of which is how to generate images using code using .js, .ts, and .tsx files. By clicking on the chunk, we can see the actual contents of what's inside of that piece of text. And as you can see, looks pretty relevant. But Cascade decides, oh, it actually might need something else. So it analyzes 3 more chunks. But the important thing here is that in order to save you credits, we've collapsed those 3 chunks into 1 read. You can think of it as a window on a browser. If multiple chunks, multiple paragraphs can fit inside of your window screen, that's just 1 read. In this way, we can kind of save you tokens. The biggest thing is to save you credits, but still get the information that you need. So we've analyzed this content, and now it's able to generate a response for us. If we open up the Open Graph image, which it just generated, this is traditional Cascade. It's ripping, it wrote out something correct. This is actually a dynamically generated image. Looks good, I'm going to accept this. This is exactly what we want. Now, to get there, let's look at the number of credits that we used. We asked it a question that we thought needed the internet, or it thought it needed the internet. It searched the web, that's 1 credit. It read a page and created an outline. That is a 2nd credit. Now, it's going to look through chunks. And in this case, it looked through 2 pieces of content. The first of which was 1 section of the page, that's 3, and a 4th section of the page, that's 4. So in total, we used 4 credits in order to read the relevant article and search the web for all the corpus of all articles. It found the information it needed in 4 credits. And then it created a new file for us that's a 5th credit. So here we've used 5 credits to search the web, read one of the results, and generate the corresponding code in 5 credits for a Next.js image endpoint. So hopefully that clears up some confusion about credit usage with web search. Now I want to talk a little bit about some tips and tricks on how to most effectively use this tool, since I've been internally using it for a couple of weeks now. So we're going to open up a new conversation, and I'm going to show you some of the handy ways that we've made it easy to access some of your favorite documentation online. So you might be familiar with the app mentions concept. Personally, I don't use it too much because Cascade's able to pick up the files and functions that I need without me needing to explicitly mention them. But some people like to use it. Similarly, Cascade knows to intelligently search the web or read a URL. You don't have to actually explicitly tell it to. But we've also, if you really, really wanted to, you could use the app mentions select web, and here you're pretty much guaranteed to do a web search. So you could ask whatever you want after it, and it'll first predicate by searching the web. So this is one way that you can force the feature, but it could intelligently pick up that you need the web search. Another way that you can use this feature is to paste direct URLs. So instead of searching the web, you could just say, summarize this blog post. And it'll pick up the fact that you probably want to read the link that you posted. So here, it'll do the same thing. It'll create an outline, chunk up the blog post, and then finally provide you a summary of what's going on. So we've also made it easy to access other documentations from some of your favorite APIs. For example, we've added Anthropic to our list of docs. So if we go to docs, select Anthropic, we can now ask, what is the latest model that you support? It's a bit of a trick question because Anthropic has multiple models, but we'll see how it handles. So first, it's going to read the documentation. It's going to generate the outline. And then it's actually going to select and only read the section about the models instead of reading the entire page. And here, it's able to return the most recent models, and it's able to get Opus, Sonnet, and Haiku. So this is just one way that you can interact with the Cascade web tooling. So to summarize, Cascade Web Search is a brand new way for Windsurf to surf the web. It uses a browser much like a human would and is able to search for relevant articles, decide which articles to read, and then read only the sections of the article that make sense for your query. All of this to improve the speed, improve the quality, and most importantly, reduce the number of credits that you use. We walked through some of the examples. You can trigger this by simply asking a question that might need the internet, and Cascade will intelligently pick that up. You could force trigger it by using @web. You can also trigger it by pasting a direct URL, or you can use @docs to select from some of our favorite documentation online. We're always looking for additional ways to improve our product, and that includes web search as well. So we're actively working on more compatibility with more sites, more documentation, as well as reducing your credit usage so that you can use Windsurf as much as you want and not have to worry about credits. Thanks for listening. I hope you learned something, and I'm super excited to see what you all build with this.